We'll call this meeting to order, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, everybody's basically been here before, but I'll quickly go over the emergency exits over here in the corner here, the one you came in at. There is a sign-in sheet. Please sign in. Please turn off your watches, phones, and all the other electronic gadgetry so we don't get interrupted.
Leave your hearing aid down. Okay, it's white days.
We are holding this meeting in conjunction with the rules and procedures adopted by this board on January 20th of 2021. That's basically it. Adrian is necessarily absent tonight. And we have a new member on the board, Aaron Sweeney, so welcome him. And the next item up is approval of the minutes of the last meeting. I know that Aaron wasn't on the board at the time, so anybody have any changes? Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion by Tim.
Tim, seconded by any other comments? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aaron abstained. Legal notices were published August 25th, 2021. And next item up is the continued public hearing of PB 0801-21, the preliminary subdivision for Farmington Common. Ron, I guess?
Yeah, I drafted a resolution to continue this public hearing through October. I don't remember the exact date. I don't have the resolution in front of me, but you
First meeting in October.
I think it was the second.
Oh, second.
I'm looking right now. Bear with me. October 6th. October 6th.
The first meeting.
First meeting.
Okay, at the request of the applicants.
Yep.
That allows them time to have the zoning board of appeals consider the area variance that's involved with their preliminary site plan.
Correct.
So we're ready.
That's it?
Yep.
Anything else from staff on that? Okay, this is a public hearing. Do I have anyone to speak for or against this preliminary subdivision? Do I have anyone to speak for or against it? Do we have anybody online? Nobody online. So with that, do I have a motion to approve the continuation resolution and move for its adoption?
I'll make a motion to waive the reading and.
Oh, there you go. That's what I meant to say.
Okay. Second.
Second. Any other comments? Clerk, take a roll call vote, please.
Aaron Sweeney.
Aye.
Doug Beats.
Aye.
Tim DeLucia.
Aye.
Ed.
Aye. Okay, that one's been continued. Next item up is the PB 09, it's a new public hearing. PB 0901-21 final site plan approval for the Loomis Road storage.
I am not the applicant, just make that very clear. Just doing some technical stuff here.
Okay,
It's all yours.
all right.
Good evening, Greg McMahon from McMahon Room.
Hey, Greg.
We're here tonight requesting final approval of the Loomis Road self-storage facility. The plan that Dan's putting up is the site plan. This is virtually the same plan that you approved as part of the preliminary process.
Okay.
There, other than tweaks that were made in response to the planning board's resolution for preliminary approval. Again, there are no changes. 3 buildings, a little over 12,000 square feet, single story of self-storage units. There are no utilities serving the site other than electric. There will be dark sky compliant lighting mounted on the units. Those fixtures are shown on the plans. There are lighting contours on other plans. We've provided a stormwater infiltration system. There'll be no stormwater leaving the site. Entrance off of Loomis Road, entirely surrounded by fencing with a, as I understand it, a keypad type entry. And that's in summary. We also have, if you want to see it again, the color rendering that was presented at preliminary of the units. The different face, the stone treatment, the face, the upper one is the north face, or the face that exposes to the New York State Thruway.
Tell us about the fencing around.
The fencing around the site is chain link will be a solid fence backing up to the residence. So that would be, as you're looking at that, let me go over to the drawing if I can. This would be a solid 6-foot fence going around this side. Then it would switch to chain link up to the rear, piece of chain link blocking the back there, and then chain link coming around for the entrance gate. But as I say, it would be solid fence.
Can you just go to the other screen for the board to see?
Oh,
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's okay.
The solid fence would extend along the rear line of two adjoining properties.
On the south side, yeah.
Chain link filling in the other gaps with a chain link fence, the entrance gate right here, the chain link coming back to tying it out 6 foot.
Okay. Anything else before we turn it over to staff?
No, we did receive MRB comments. We will address those comments. There was nothing on there that, we felt that caused us any major concerns. We'll work through that process, but
Okay, turn it over to Ron. Where are we at, Ron?
We're at the point of final approval. Resolution to approve with conditions has been drafted, posted, sent to everybody. So I believe we're ready to go. It's been a little while since we last saw you, Greg, and I'm glad to see you come back and going to finish this off.
Okay. Dan, what do you got?
All right, we've done a code review. At this point, I don't have any real issues. I do want to say that the keypad would be just for users. It would have an override with a Knox box or approved device for the fire department.
we did note that on the note that the gate.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring it up because you mentioned about a keypad. It would have override for the fire department as well. The other thing I wanted to bring up was the fencing along the back of the property lines. I know that we had talked about being a neutral color fencing, maybe not a bright white vinyl, but something to be something that would blend in, I guess, more than.
We can add we can add to the final plans prior to signature a color.
Okay.
For that.
Those are my only comments.
Now, there was a comment in Lance's about the preliminary conditions not being met. So, Lance, you want to address that, or?
There was, the revised plans do address most, if not all, of the preliminary conditions. I have to go back through and double check again, because when I had issued the letter, I thought there was 2 comments, specifically condition 24 and 26, that I was still questioning whether or not, but I believe that was a town consideration. I don't have the preliminary conditions of approval with me at this time.
Lance, I looked at that this morning. Condition 24 was that, and I added that at the entrance where the keypad is, there would be a sign with the owner's name and contact phone number in case of emergency. And condition 26, which I thought I submitted, but I have, was showing the turning movements for the
Correct.
emergency vehicle around the building. And
I know when we looked at the preliminary plans, you had that
yeah,
information. so I
those
thought-
were actually conditions of the special use permit.
Okay, so all the conditions basically have been met. All right, anything else, Dan?
I'm good.
Don?
Only question I had was, is that fence, is that a solid wood fence coming all the way out to Loomis Road, 6 foot tall?
I'm sorry, no, Dan, it's, we're showing it ending at this corner. There is no fence, we're not proposing any fence out to Loomis Road. The fence would complete the security here. This is an infiltration pond, this would be lawn, and this would be lawn over here.
Okay, I misunderstood when you were,
Yeah,
when you were putting the fence on, I thought we were talking
Inadvertently
6 foot
noted.
all the way out to
Yeah.
the
So
road.
that line is just the lot line, right?
Boundary
This
line.
is the property line.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought the same thing.
Yeah,
So,
no, the fence ends, the
Right there in
solid
that
fence
corner.
ends there, and the chain, I'm sorry. The solid fence would go all the way across here, and then the gate across, but the solid fence actually ends right here, where then there's a gate
Right.
across, so
and there's no fence then
there's no
coming south.
fence from here out to Loomis Rock.
That's just a lot line.
That just shields the neighbor's property a little bit, but don't go all the way out. Thank you for the clarity.
All right. Lance?
Yeah, as you referenced, I did issue a letter dated August 26th. Most of the comments honestly were more about clarification, some labeling area, for example, the snow storage area, which he does label, but there's a timber guide road that kind of blocks that. So I think it's just a matter of either shifting the snow storage area to a new location or adjusting the timber guide rail in a manner that works for both parties. Some of them was in section labels, check dam detail that we're looking for. The rest of the comments were more geared towards the technical aspects related to SWIP and NOI, which we'll work with Greg to address and to make sure that everybody on both sides are agreeing to it. So at this point, I don't have anything significant that would prevent this from moving
Okay.
forward tonight.
Okay, this is a public hearing. Do we have anyone to speak?
My name is Charlene Henneke, and I reside at 6018 Loomis Road, Farmington. And I have notes that state that in our last meeting, we talked a lot about the fencing. Okay, and at that time, it was discussed that the plans will be revised with the fencing moving off of the property line. The fencing was to move in 6 foot, and there was to be an area of dense landscape between the fencing and the boundary line.
Mhm.
And there was quite a long discussion about that. The gentleman said that he had a problem with it
Yeah.
because he felt not having the fence on the property line would create confusion as to what was owned by whom.
And who would maintain?
Yes, so I had called the town afterwards, and I asked that a message be put through to the gentleman saying that I would be willing to sign a boundary line agreement agreeing that I did not own up until the security fence.
Mhm.
Okay, and I want that area of dense vegetation put in place. It does not show on that.
Right.
Again,
Ron? I mean, we talked about it, or Dan, we talked about the ability of someone to be able to maintain outside of a fence. That it
So,
was really hard.
yeah, and that was the problem that we were running into is the maintenance of this. The applicant is, saying that putting the fence on the property line, he can then maintain all his property right up to the line. And, I mean, if we put trees and vegetation and all that, I mean, outside of the fence, it's gonna be a very difficult, overcoming for the applicant to maintain all that.
Right.
So going with a fence of a natural color, to blend in was more of the appropriate
Right.
thoughts that the town had at this point.
Yeah, I thought that's what we kind of had settled on in discussion.
okay, so as a requirement for the approval of the special use permit number 7, It says there shall be also an area of dense landscaping located on the site between the three proposed self-storage buildings and related site improvements in the adjacent single-family residential sites fronting along Lewis Road, IE.
That's correct. It's on their property.
That's on their property inside the fence, correct?
Inside the fence.
It's inside the fence.
So why would they have an area of dense vegetation inside the fence when this was specifically put in place to protect me?
They're putting a solid wood fence to screen their property from your view, which is better than a planting of trees that are going to take.
Right.
But we had a long discussion about that, and when we left the meeting at the last time, it was mentioned that the gentleman would get with the residents and talk about a landscaping plan that would be agreeable with us. That's what was discussed. And nobody reached out to me, nobody said anything to me. I thought I was being generous by saying that I would be willing to sign a boundary line agreement
Right.
that allowed them to know, you know, because if you look at the requirements, it does talk about landscaping in front of any fencing if they were to put that anywhere else.
Outside of, not in a general industrial area, correct? I don't believe that's a requirement in general industrial areas. General industrial areas typically do not require, actually, a lot of times they don't require solid fencing. I think we upgraded that to a solid fencing specifically to create a visual blockage there.
Right.
So that instead of having just a chain link fence, which would be standard in a general industrial area, we upgraded to, and the applicant very kindly agreed to upgrade to a solid fence to assist the residents. I don't know how we could require the applicant to move the fence off his line, go back in, and then turn around and have, you know, plantings in their area and then maintain them. That would be extremely difficult, and especially in the GI area.
Okay, so if you're looking at the requirements for the mini warehouse site, if you look at letter Y and letter Z, it talks about a landscape area at least 6 foot in width shall be provided around the mini warehouse site. Such landscape area is to be adjacent to the security fence and within the required side and rear yard portion of a mini warehouse site. All landscaping shall be identified on the site plan and is to be installed within 6 months of the certificate of compliance.
That would normally be, yeah, okay. Don?
As I recall the conversation, there was landscaping mentioned. That said, the landscaping was in fact mentioned inside the fence. And part of the scenario there was the fence would create a boundary along the lower portion up for the residents. You will not see it with the trees growing up inside the fence to additionally shield the property. As the trees grew up, the trees would show from over the top of it. Because of this conversation was questioned about having the trees outside the fence or inside the fence. What benefit was the trees going to do me? And I think it was mentioned at that point in time, once the trees grow, they will show over the fence, but the fence will create the lower solid barrier.
Until they got tall enough, right?
Right.
I mean, that kind of, I think we were looking for some additional trees and some additional landscape behind that. Wow, and that's what we kind of we're looking to see, but it was.
So if you look at your landscaping plan, you will see that there is trees along that whole fence line that will grow up.
Yeah, everybody's, right, yeah, I mean, I think, right, I mean, there are trees now.
So there's an area of landscaping 6 foot wide within their area.
It's inside the fence.
Inside fence, I believe.
Yeah, there is an area of 6 foot wide.
Probably at least probably wider in some spots. it looks, appears to be all high.
I think that, I mean, when I look at the picture here, right directly behind me, is showing,
That's just the site plan.
It's just a site plan.
It doesn't show the trees on this one.
yeah, but it shows the reservoir behind my house.
Yeah, there are some trees on it. It's on the landscape plan, though. They're just showing the site plan right now. So they pull up the landscape plan. They'll- Should be able to see the tree behind it.
And see, there you go.
So yeah, trees all the way here, and around the pond and around this edge.
Okay, what about where my, see that square? Where are there trees there?
Pond, so.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. There's a pond there,
Part of the landscape.
but there's supposed to be a large area of landscape. Well, they call that pond landscape. Is that what you're saying?
Part of the MS4 program for us. Stormwater.
Yeah, you gotta have a stormwater pond.
Right, but the reason that we had them go back and do all this is because they were gonna rework things and move things in and put that landscaping in.
You can't very well move things into a pond.
No, I mean, they were gonna have to move the pond or whatever they needed to do to comply with the requirements that's required by this law.
I mean, would the applicant be willing to put more pine trees along
Yeah, I
that?
mean, I don't see a problem doing that. I mean, we can, I have no problem with the top of the bank of the pond. It's not going to interfere with the operation of the pond.
Right.
We can add, you know, maybe, you know, some pines, similar spacing across there. That's not a problem.
Because from what you're saying is that you were talking about trees growing up and then further making it so it can't be seen. If you look at my property line, there's nothing.
We'll,
Okay,
We will.
the applicants agreed to put trees, same spacing all the way the rest of that area along that west lawn property line.
you know, we did have the discussion about a more dense landscaping, but it was part of it, you know, the compromise was, well, what if, you know, we put in a solid fence
Right,
with the landscape there, if we want to go back to a chain link fence,
which we don't.
and we can certainly do that, but as far as along the back of 6018, we can add some additional vegetation.
Okay, that's more trees. Okay,
That's all right, yeah.
Okay, so then I want to talk about the lighting.
okay,
What's the,
dark sky conditions.
right, I read that, they have to follow that, but,
Yeah, there won't be any spill off the property and it'll all be on property.
okay, so there'll be no, I will not get light on my property.
Lance, you're the engineer.
So all their light are downward and they're shielded, so they're not allowed to have a foot candle that goes beyond their property line, greater than 0.5 foot candle.
And all our 0.5 foot candles stay actually within the paved area.
Correct, so there isn't, all the lighting on their site will remain on their site per the plans as before you tonight. Also, with the fencing and the trees there, there's gonna be very little to no light escaping that property.
I think you also said you're gonna put a timer on 2 days, right?
that was one of our-
Dusted on or.
Yeah, I
some
think
other
that was the intent, or they would be on a motion sensor type lighting. I mean, this site is really not going to be accessible
At night.
at night. It's a daytime access, and they're just, you know, for detection, so. they
Or
would
for
be
the
on.
winter time, really, when it gets dark early, probably, right? Because I think your hours of operation are like.
I mean, there will be, I'm sure, some type of a cellular alarm system that's hooked into this site for security purposes.
Okay, so what are the hours of operation that's been agreed to?
Gosh, guys, I'm trying to remember.
I
It wasn't 24/7.
No, it wasn't. It was basic, I believe that some of the discussion was dusk from dawn. This is there's not a rental office on site.
Right.
So it would only be accessed by people that had a storage unit, that had the code to access it. But that keypad would time out at, say 7 o'clock in the evening and wouldn't time back in until 8 in the morning or something.
Something like 8 to 8.
Yeah, I believe those details were part of your special use permit approval.
I was gonna say, I thought we had that.
Those are already
preliminary.
been conditioned on that approval, that was already granted by this.
Okay, so the special use says from 7 AM to 10 PM.
Okay, that's what it is. You knew that, why did you ask the question?
I wanted to double check.
Okay. Can I ask a question?
You certainly can, Ron.
Perhaps you know the answer to this question now. This year, between when the preliminary plan was approved and tonight, we've noticed that there's been a number of pine trees and trees cut behind some of the properties out there. Was that on your property?
Are you talking to me?
Yes, ma'am.
No, I didn't cut any trees.
That must have been on your neighbor's property?
Which? Are you talking about my neighbor over here?
Right along that boundary line between.
He doesn't cut down, he has trees there.
There were trees cut down and they were stacked.
Yeah, trees stacked, yes, that is correct. He has trees stacked.
Was that on your property or on neighbor?
No, it was not on mine.
So, the likelihood if they were to have put trees outside the fenced area, if that happened, is real. I mean, why would you do that?
No. Okay, any other questions, ma'am?
No, I don't believe I have any other questions. My biggest thing was the landscaping and obviously there was discussions after the meeting that I was not a part of.
Well, we try to
Come to an agreement, yeah.
we try to make the project as good as we can, as sustainable as we can, and that's why we kind of did what we did. I mean, we had discussions among staff, we had discussions in PRC meetings, we had discussions all along, and try to make it as good as we can possibly make it. And having things outside of a fence after talking about things just didn't seem right. Lance?
I just think it's important to note that this board has not had discussions outside of a public venue ever with any part of this project or any project that's required a public hearing.
Right.
So all dialogue that is taking place has been at this board meeting or PRC board meeting, which have all have been advertised and are open to the public. I just think it's important for the record.
True. Okay. Any additional comments?
I don't know what a TRC meeting is.
It's just another meeting we have. It's called the Planning Review Committee. Project Review Committee. Okay, and it's where all staff get to talk about the projects and help make the projects the best projects possible. So. Okay, there's no one still online. Okay,
I'll double check, but nope, nobody's online. So
okay.
Nobody waiting in the room?
nobody's waiting either. You're here, so.
Okay, so we had a public hearing on the final site plan approval. Do we, let's go to board comments before we close the public hearing. Tim?
No, I have no comments on this one.
Doug?
I think the resolution covers all the MRB comments and just pretty much addressed the gap there, so I think everything else was kind of okay.
Okay, Aaron?
I didn't have anything.
Okay, and my comments are that I think this is a good project in a GI area that also has residential in the area, and it's kind of a better compromised project than a lot of projects. It could be in a GI area and still be allowed, and certainly provides a much less noisy and a Commerce project and what could go into that area. So with that, I would take a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion by Tim.
Tim, seconded by Aaron. Any other comments? All in favor of close the public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, public hearing is closed. Okay, we have a resolution. So we just have the resolution with condition, Ron.
Yeah, and I think that one of the conditions is to note in there a requirement of trees be spaced along that southeast property line at a distance comparable to the other spacings along that line.
John, you got that?
Yes, sir, we have that.
Better make sure John's got
The
that.
southeast property line.
Well,
And
yeah,
this is
along
not
the,
to the other space.
along the south edge of the pond, along, thank you.
Is that technically
Yes.
southeast property?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, so that's an added condition. So, applicant's okay with the rest of the conditions in the original,
Yes, we've
This
reviewed
is
the resolution.
southwest.
pardon?
Southwest.
Southwest.
let's see, north is this way, east is this way. Southwest would be towards the thruway,
Yep, that's where it is.
so you still think it's the southwest?
Well, the little label here says it should be southwest.
Okay. Not gonna argue about direction.
It's south.
This is north.
Yeah.
Okay, taking one right
I know. All right. So we have a resolution with conditions. Did you get a chance to look at the resolution?
I did not get a chance to look. I looked at the resolution that was online.
Yeah.
It said it was still draft and I didn't.
That's the
really-
one, yep. So what, those conditions are what basically we're gonna now put in stone, along with the additional addition of the trees along the southwest corner along the pond, so that to give you some relief above that fence line. So the conditions with that, board have any concerns with waiving the reading and approving the resolution with conditions, with the added conditions?
I'm okay.
Tim's okay with it, or Tim moves it, seconded by Aaron. Any other comments? Any other comments from anyone before we go forth with this? Clerk, take a roll call vote, please.
Aaron Sweeney,
Aye.
Doug Beats,
Aye.
Tim DeLucia,
Aye.
and Tim.
Aye. Okay, final site plan's been approved with the addition of the tree.
Thank
Okay,
you very much.
thank you very, and thank you for coming, man, and we appreciate your input. We really, really do. We love it when we have people coming in and ask questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great evening. All right, next item up, site plan, final site plan approval amendment. This is on PB 0602-19. This is the updated Country Max warehouse. I hope you're very happy with it. To have, let's just get the final pieces taken care of.
Okay. Good evening. I think we all know who I am. My name is Ed Perone from Perone Engineering. Here with our client this evening, John Payne, president of the Country Max Facilities. We are proposing a distribution center for Country Max. Just to give you a new board member. This has been amended, and I think amended, maybe one more amendment.
He's been going on for what, about
That's about
8 years?
Well, 4 or 5 anyways.
First one I've ever seen.
We've had, Adrian's not here to see. So the last time that this was finally approved was back in September 3rd of 2019. We then got an extension this past May, which is now good for up until October the 31st of 2021.
Okay,
We look forward to getting that approval in a short period of time. I do want to point out to the board, there's a couple of things that have changed from the original amended approved plan, and I put both of these up here. The colored rendering is what you see today, that's the application before you. And the black and white landscaping plan shows you what was approved back in 2019.
Hey, just a second, for Aaron's background, this was originally developed as, for lack of a better words, a generic warehouse.
Correct.
It had no tenant per se, so they were just coming through, approving a generic warehouse, so we could turn around and they could be, for lack of a better word, shovel ready, ready to go, and have it approved. And then, now we have a tenant, so we have a building now, which now fits their needs. So that's the difference between.
And further, Aaron, the situation at the time was the warehousing was a combination office warehouse, and it would have been broken up into 6 different individual businesses within this. The original approval was for 72,000 feet on one ground floor. That was formerly called the P. Felice Industrial Complex. The building today is in the same footprint. It's 72,000, roughly 280 feet as a footprint. But in reality, it's 79,000 feet because there is a second story addition internally in the building, as well as the loading dock areas that are shown here, and I'll get into that in a minute, is also enclosed, where the loading dock areas in the former approved plan were open air. They were not enclosed.
Okay.
The height of the building originally in the original approved plan was 35 feet, even though it was 1 story. This building proposal is 28 feet. Okay. The original approved site plan had 126 parking spaces. This proposal only needs and only has 80 to meet the requirements for the zoning. One of the major issues that has changed is this particular plan showed access to Hook Road. That driveway has been eliminated. I think Don Duro is happy about that because we don't want any trucks on Hook Road. And this no longer has a road to that. All access will come from Collette Road. The original plan had 6 bays, 6 individual bays. This plan has really 3 loading dock areas where you can have up to 3 trucks in each one. So we are increasing the possibility. Will there be that many? The chances of that are probably not going to happen very often. We did have an opportunity. One other thing that I will say to you, the water mains are dedicated. They did not move because we do not want to go back to the health department for approvals. The water main will be a dedicated water main. There'll only be 1 service into the building now, where before we had 6 different services into the building. They were off one main. The sewers are still only 1 sewer lateral, and which will be part of the, it will be serviced the entire building. A little bit about the building itself. The ground floor will be roughly 74,000 feet. There will be some offices on the ground floor, and then in the center atrium area, as you enter the building and you go up the stairs, there will be another 5,000 feet that will be provided for additional offices on the 2nd floor. Okay. As far as architectural, I know we did submit what was put together in space modeling that Don and his people put together. We'll get into that in a minute. But it does show what the building will be, and we understand the issues as it relates about architectural, and we'll get into that in a few minutes. We are proposing this time, there will be an enclosed area with a roof for outdoor storage here, which will be attached to the building, and then there is an open area here. This is roughly, I believe it was 30 by 80 or something like that in this area. There will be an area with a pavilion, a shelter here for employees, for breaks, for lunch, okay? There is some concern about, and we're gonna look for feedback from the board this evening as it relates to how we secure this, whether it's a opaque wood fence, steel fence, what have you. As far as to make sure that there's no view from Colette Road for when we tuck this in purposely so that it would not be obtrusive to the folks that are in Hickory Ridge over here on the east side of Brook Road. We did have an opportunity to review the draft resolution, which was a continuance. At first, when I started to read it, I had to admit, yeah, the sidewalks are no big deal. I mean, we're taking sidewalks away, that's okay. And I said, why can't we get preliminary or final approval again? And then I read about the architectural stuff, and I could see what your issues were there. And I think we need to have some dialogue tonight relative to that. That's why I've asked Don to be here with us this evening. As far as MRB's letter is concerned, I was appreciative by Lance. It's only 2 pages, actually a page and a half. That's pretty good.
Get better.
Yes, the thing I don't think we need anything of Lance. I think our discussions with Ron, I don't believe, and we've talked to Dan about this as far as the special permit is concerned. I don't think we have that issue to deal with. I do want to raise the issue relative to the potential guardrail along Colette Road. We discovered something this evening, I made Don aware of it, that we need to relook at that grading a little bit. Because when it was originally approved, I think that we weren't really taking into consideration, and Don knows this, there's an underground telephone conduit there, that's why we have the hump. So we have to look at that a little bit more carefully, because that hump may have to stay, Lance. Which means then we may not need a guardrail because that hump is going to secure it. And if you recall, when we did the FedEx project, Mr. DeFelice wanted the town to take that down, and the town said, no, we're not going to do that, and we're not going to pay for the telephone removal. So that's something that we need to look at. But as far as your other comments are concerned, they're technical in nature, and to the board, I don't see an issue with those. Some of those things are, the SWIP, we are in the process of modifying the SWIP right now. So as far as all the other comments are concerned, we have no really major issue with that. We will be modifying the lighting plan. Our client has given us some different direction of how he wants to light it. I do want to tell the board that this is primarily an 8 to 5 operation. So that you understand this is primarily for distribution of, think of topsoil, think of mulch, think of potting soil. Those types of things are what's going to be in this distribution center. Plus there'll be other goods, but the outdoor storage will have primarily that activity. So it's an in and out. They don't stay very long. They disperse it to various different stores throughout the Rochester area. As far as the architecture is concerned, and Don and I talked about this evening, and we talked about it before. We hear what you're saying. We thought that the models that were shown, or the graphics that were shown to you would be suffice. But I can say and sense, because of what we did the last time for Mr. DeFelice, that you want an architectural drawing of showing the facade. You're not so much interested in the interior, but you're more interested in what the specifics are of the exterior of the building is going to be in its colors. I don't think we had to get to the level of bringing in samples. In fact, I know we didn't do that the last time, and we probably won't propose that this time, unless the board wants to see some of those samples. But I think that Don does have he can speak to this himself too. But I think that we understand that architecturally we want to make it as pleasing as possible. As far as landscape, this goes back to Mary, believe it or not. It really does. Mary was you don't even know Mary, Aaron. The landscaping issue here. We have, and I think a lot of it has to deal with Robin McDonald, because there are so many utilities here that are town-owned utilities in this area. To beef up some of the landscaping in here may be a real trick. we will certainly talk to Robin about that to see what we can do to
Right.
try to enhance that. But I think our landscape architect, Heinrich Fisher, did as best as he could to try to, and when you cross a line here and you bring it across this way, this pond area and this landscaping, I think, does the trick
Right,
as time goes by. As far as lighting is concerned, the only thing that you're gonna see, they're gonna see, and they're quite a bit of distance, is the back of their houses. The back, not the front, but the back of their houses. And we don't know what this barrier will be once the commercial is built, Tree Ridge. I don't know what that'll be. Could be a strip plaza, could be whatever.
right.
So, we don't have a lot of issues with any of the resolution items that you asked us to provide. Other than we do have to address the architecture. And with that, I will close the presentation, but I do want to ask the board the best of their consideration, because we don't want to go back and try to reinvent the wheel. I know we only have to the 31st of October.
Right.
We hope to get all of this stuff back as soon as possible for you, so that we can get on your docket and get this approved. Not the later part of September, probably not, but at least the first meeting in October, so that we don't have any other issues with that. With, getting the final approval.
Right, well, and part of the reason why the resolution is the way it is Ron and I had a discussion. Ron put together a draft, and our goal was to give you as much feedback as we could, since instead of having a preliminary and a final, we only have one shot at this. We wanted to give you enough information rather than just talking about it, sending you away, having you come back, and then having to have more and more iterations. We'd like to get this in, for lack of better words, one good iteration here, make the final changes and then final tweaks and go. That's our goal.
That's our goal.
Okay, so we're on the same sheet. Ron?
Yeah, exactly. The thing that's a concern is the clock is ticking. And as you know, the second meeting in October would be the latest or last date that the planning board could grant conditional final approval, or that the applicant would have to demonstrate that he's been working in good faith and needs whatever amount of additional time to complete the details that has been requested as a result of these amendments to the drawings. And to that end, what I suggested in the resolution is that there's two project review committee meetings, two opportunities for you to sit with town staff. You mentioned Robin McDonald, and seeing if there's any wiggle room there for some additional bushes or screening along the south property line. I believe that's the southeast property line. I could be wrong.
No, this time you're absolutely correct.
But, you know, the issue here is demonstrating and documenting that we are working towards that solution.
Understood.
Giving justification, because there's been so many extensions previously, not for country homes, but previous applicants, that we want to make sure that we have sound justification. The only other thing I would say is I'm glad to hear that there's going to be some of your more precious materials stored inside the warehouse. That Guglielmo's Italian sausage and sauce is very, very good, and I wouldn't want that left outdoors, you know, in the winter months. And then the other thing is, with landscaping there in that southeast corner of the property, I think it's going to work very well, because I noted yesterday, or maybe it was this morning, that there was a town mower there with one of the wheels off it. You could hardly see as you're driving along the road. So that's all I have.
Okay, Dan?
All right, as Ron stated, landscaping that southeast corner in probably the south property line as well, maybe. I don't know what we have down there, but
The ditch,
so,
it's a big ditch, as you know.
so maybe there's something that we could do, but I think we just need to take a closer look at that corner, as it's already been stated. And then my other big concern, obviously, is outdoor storage. I know we have, and you have my interpretation of that awning area and that fenced in area. I'm hoping the board comments about that tonight as well, but I think it has to be stated that anything outside of that area is just not going to be allowed.
Outside this enclosed area,
Yeah.
that's what you're talking about.
Yes. And I think that should be noted somewhere on the plans as well.
I think it was in the resolution, it might have been.
So those were my concerns.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just want to clarify that I've continued this to a certain date in October.
Yeah, we'll clean that up.
And if you feel you can get revised drawings in quicker than that, by all means. You know,
We would like to, Ron, quite frankly, is get it before this board, before the first meeting in October.
Yeah, the first of October is a PRC meeting. So if you have the plans in so that you can meet with the PRC meeting on the 1st of October, then the 6th of October is the first meeting with the planning board.
Right.
And we should be able to clear up all the final details there and make it happen.
Right, the PRC meeting for the 3rd of September is just.
Right,
well,
that's just too quick.
The only thing you're going to accomplish there perhaps is the opportunity to discuss with Robin and the water and sewer people, Matt Heilman, the construction inspector, you know, is there any opportunity here? And you'll have that answer, and it'll be documented, planning board will see what it was. We'll go from there.
That's true.
Okay,
That's
all right,
true.
anything else, Dan?
I'm good. I've heard this touched on a couple of occasions already this evening, and I share the concern on that southeast corner. I see where we've got the 4 balsams that come around. My thought is if there was a couple more balsams there, if at all possible, to bring it up to where that existing wood line is. My concern with the layout here is as trucks pull in, they're made to pull out like this, which is the lights and whatnot are gonna skirt. And as you mentioned, them houses, you are looking at the back side.
Yeah.
But take a look over there. Every one of them have a deck where they sit out in the back.
I
they drink out
understand.
there. So it's actually family area that's being utilized there. My thought is a couple more balsams, if we could get them there, would help to assist, because the angle that the trucks have to nose out back into there.
Right, you're right, they do have to back in it, yeah, I get that.
Okay, anything else, Tom? Oh, Ron, I'm sorry.
I just wanted to point out that all of that detailed writing about sidewalks and everything else, crosswalks and all that good stuff was the result of Don coming in, sitting down with me and going through this and redesigning the alignment so that we don't have what was originally proposed there.
Can I ask this, I'm glad you brought that up, Don and you, Ron. When we take the sidewalk on the south side of Colette, and we're coming to the intersection of Cook, and you mean outside the stop sign, you mean south of the stop sign to get around. If you look, if you've done, and our project manager, Paul Schreiner, and I talked about this today, that sidewalk might have to move a little farther south because there's guide wires there for the power company. And we gotta kind of stay away from those guys. So we might have to jockey that around a little bit.
If I don't see where it would be a big problem if that sidewalk as it approached Hook Road drifted a little bit further to the south in order to accommodate the guide wire.
Yeah,
You know,
right.
I don't foresee
Okay.
that problem. I hate to see it moved any closer to the road than that side.
Oh, no, I agree with you. That's why when you said outside, you want to be away from it. That's right. That's right.
With that intersection, if they're on the sidewalk, they're probably better off the further they can get away from the road it is. I put flashing lights there and they still crash there.
I still think there should be a 4-way stop there, and there isn't. I don't get it.
They don't stop when it's.
Don't stop.
I know, it's a tough.
It's all roundabout.
It's I like roundabouts, are you kidding?
That was
That was discussed more than once.
You know why?
Except for those that can't do it.
Hook going to the north, there's no sight distance, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Then when you gotta look back.
And I recall, yeah, I'm gonna date myself here, 25 years ago, I had been kind of a young man with the town then, I don't know, 5 years. We did actually lower that hill some 3 feet.
I know,
Yeah.
unfortunately, I go back 51 years. What am I doing?
Well, I'm just going back with my time with the town, I'm not going all the way back, that's way too
Oh,
far.
no, me working here in this town
Yeah.
many years ago.
It's your fault.
I did lower
Yes,
collection.
you did, thank you.
Okay.
Lance,
No, as Ed mentioned, we did issue a comment letter August 30th. I think this is both plans are good, but this is a better plan. I guess, out of curiosity, and I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this, but I know there's some concerns with lighting going across Hook Road to that corner. Is there a way, what if you flip-flop the dots so that the trucks were going, because the trucks gotta go around the building one way or another.
Okay,
But I believe I know the answer.
the trucks, we have reanalyzed, the trucks come in this direction, they come this way, and back in, this way, back in. Coming this way, we don't have the room here to do this. This is a much better way of flow to come in. You understand? Also, trucks come this way, they drop off product here or pick up product here. All right, so this is a much safer, better approach. We always were coming this way.
I agree, that's always been set up. I was just asking the question.
It's just the way it is.
Thank you.
anything else, Lance?
No, that's it.
Did you have anything you wanted to add?
I mean, a couple of things, a couple of points that people have made. First off, thanks for allowing us to jump in on this. You guys have had it paying however many years, and literally, this is the fastest developed thing I've ever been involved in. I mean, it's 120 days, and it's, so in our world, you guys all roll your eyes about time and say, wow, we've tried as best we can. So perspective is everything there, but it is that we knew that our organization and the activity that goes on around it does involve some unloading of vehicles outside. It's just the nature of our business, and that was originally why, I mean, it was a big concern of mine to be able to get to understanding the sensitivity of outside storage, and that we needed to deal with it, and that's why that's on that plan. We had those discussions with Ron because it was important for us to be able to mitigate that beforehand. So every intention to do it. It's not, we don't have to understand the rules, regulations, the laws, everything that is written on the plan, understood. So we do know that.
Cool.
And I appreciate the opportunity to be able to help everybody by allowing us to have that screened in area that we can do our business and not affect anybody from the outside. And from the architectural side of things, the renditions is all they are at this point, which will upgrade those as needed. We tried to be able to make it look a little differently, so the operation of the building is not just our warehouse and transfer, but we'll have office space. We want to be proud of it too, because it'll be our office, our home. We'll have various different people that will come in from out of town that we want to impress to some respect. So it's a site that we will also want to be able to have it look pleasant from the exterior also. So, some of the architectural, we putting in some of our timber frame front, and wide open facade there. I think that would look really attractive. I think the gazebo effect on the end covers up some of the business end of the building. So hopefully that does that also. Enough landscaping. We know where to get a few arborvitaes if we need to, so I think we can accommodate that.
Yeah, the deer will find it.
Giant green. But so, understood, and then, I think that from the facility side of things, the only architecturally, the only end that's really not affected is probably the Hook Road end. And, maybe we can attempt to do a little bit of something on that, but it's not an entry, it's.
Right.
Facility.
Well, plus the fact that, Don, that there was a concern in the last application because the building was much higher than we are today, okay? And there was a concern by some of the board members that I distinctly remember that it was a blank wall. And that we needed to do something on that wall because people would see that east wall. And now that the building profile is a little bit lower, he's got a different attitude on how he's gonna handle it, look a little bit more attractive. It won't look so huge when it's 28 feet. It's roughly like a 2-story house is what it is. It's not gonna look like a large factory.
Yeah, and if you go back to what we did with Myers RV Superstore, it's an MTOD, so it's the same basic concept. We had some breaking up of there was some overhang, there's some different levels of overhang, and there's some different things like that where we broke it up with some color and some different things, just to make it not just I love the timber frame piece, don't get me wrong, but the rest of it seemed a little plain, so we need to look at how do we make it a little bit more appealing, that type of thing. So, but Dan?
I was just talking with Don here. Don brought up a good point. We go back to the previous project that you guys just approved. The back of those buildings, they put up those like fake windows and stuff like that.
Yeah, we don't have a problem with fake windows. We did the same thing over at Always Lock Storage. Yeah. We did some of that over there with some fake window kind of treatment to break it up. Just, hey, it's not the most perfect thing in the world, but it's better than, just flat gray or white or whatever building. So.
Or even real windows. I think that was one of the last time we looked at that.
Yeah.
One of the things that, I don't know if you had that, but architects might, so.
Yeah.
Something, something like that.
So we'll go to the board. We'll start with you, Don.
A lot of this is more detailed. I like this light line a lot better. I really do, and I appreciate so pulling together so quickly, because I do respect it. I think before it's just, this has been dragged on for so long, so we can't shoot your business. We love you guys. I do too. I shop there all the time, but I mean, from, a site plan perspective, I think this is very similar to what we approved last time. The outside storage it's broken up into 2 different areas. I guess that was one of the questions.
Covered and fenced in.
Oh, okay.
Covered area.
Everything is fenced.
And then fenced in. All of it's fenced in.
All is fenced.
At least there's some of it's covered.
When you say fence, let's say it's gonna be enclosed. It'll be a solid.
And with a gazebo on the corner to
Yeah.
break up the view coming in.
Well, that was the question I had, and I don't think to jump in here. But can we talk about that enclosure? You just said it's not a fence, but how, is it walls? Is it, what are you proposing here?
That's what Don wanted to find out. There's a different variety and we're looking to satisfy what the board is looking for. We could have a solid metal enclosure. We could have a solid fence enclosure. We could have I'm not proposing a brick enclosure because it wouldn't be appropriate with the type of building that we're building here. But it would be some sort of solid fencing of whether it be wood, whether it be steel.
How tall?
That's a good question.
Well, we had put it in at 12 feet. So there would be, the whole premise behind it was to make sure that there wasn't couldn't see anything. So pallets, as they come off the truck, they can be, upwards of 7.5 to 8 feet. Pick them up, if you're carrying them around. You wouldn't be able to see anything with it that high. So we've done the structures in the stores with either rough cut lumber, or if that's not, we can do the same thing with a vinyl panel fence. So it's either
And then,
So let me just go way back to, My biggest issue would be is the maintainability. If it's easy to maintain, chances are you'll maintain it faster, longer than something that's more difficult to maintain. You have to paint something every year, it probably won't get done. I wouldn't do it. I would do it with my own debt. So, so something that's easily maintained would be my issue, but what it's made out of, I'm not sure I care as long as it fits the style of the building kind of thing.
Can you, when you submit, can you give me dimensions?
Oh, yeah.
All that good stuff, of what that.
The architectural drawing will demonstrate that for you, yes.
Okay. That was a concern. of mine.
Yeah, because it's gonna be, the architectural drawing's gotta blend, that storage area's gotta blend with the building.
Yeah.
We don't want it to look like an attachment, we want it to blend with the building.
Okay, Doug?
Okay, so what, the gazebo is being up in front of that though, is that gonna be?
That corner.
That corner, yeah, that's, I'm just trying to think how the heights would work there. 12, you think it's only gonna be 12 foot, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, that's high enough that the forklifts can still.
Yep.
Pick it up and, okay. Yeah, well, I drove forklift for a while and that was, after I was in high school, actually, Chase Pickens, and that was one of those things, you picked up those big pallets of, mulch sometimes.
They will, the outside storage will all be set up ground, so it wouldn't be, so really the outside storage is, a lot of it is throughout the winter as we get pallets of salt, soils, mulches, it all comes in.
Yeah,
With ice and snow and wet, stays out there and it's transferred in the field. It's not, it's extremely temporary for every thing that comes through there, there's more transfer space. But it will then be ground, not pallet racking, so. it'll be up.
Okay. I mean, the enclosure itself, I mean, as long as it's not visible, I guess, because the materials, I agree that it's durable and, again, it's just, there's a lot of blends into the building, and stuff is enclosed. I don't really see an issue with that. I mean, it's going to be screened, I think, coming down. From
We're gonna be below Colette Road.
Colette Road,
Yeah, you're
so,
gonna be below Palais, you're gonna have
Doug,
a
we're
gazebo on
definitely
your
gonna be
corner,
below Colette Road.
so you're gonna be back in the back.
Yeah, that was one of the things I was wondering, if you Colette, how it's going to be, if that berm is going to stay out there, that knob is.
Wow.
So maybe.
I have no idea how deep the freaking telephone cable is, and I don't know how many pairs of telephone wires are in there.
There's actually fiber there too, I think.
Thank you for making me feel better.
I'm helping you out here, I'm pretty sure
We're
there's
not
fiber there in
taking
that
that
area too.
We're not taking that help.
But it does give you access to fiber optic cable there for your business.
Oh,
Yeah, Doug.
No, I think, really, it's just more detail on the architectural type of materials, building materials. I mean, what is it, I guess, is what I was looking for. And yeah, I think we really need to see samples.
Well, I don't mind samples if you can bring in some ideas, some color splotches,
There's gotta be-
whatever.
You're right.
I mean, if you're gonna use a certain texture kind of something, if you can do it with an architectural rendering, fine. If you can't, bring in some samples.
I guess things that enclosures, you
Yeah.
got different ideas, and even if you want to bounce them off us,
Yeah.
just even a picture of something that like you're thinking, you can email it to.
Yeah, I mean.
Certainly, staff's around. I'm around all the time. I live.
Go to the email now.
Right,
it's easy enough, we can-
Yeah,
we can get some feedback on it before the next meeting.
Don.
Step back just for a second to that fiber cable that's down through there. We hydro excavated there to see how deep that was. You got about a foot of cover.
Oh, come on. Are you serious?
There you
You're
go.
serious?
Yeah, it's right
We ain't
up,
moving that.
it's right up by the top.
We're not moving, we're not doing that. We're gonna have a little steeper slope down. Like a 1-on-2. I'm telling you right now, it's gonna be like a 1-on-2.
All right.
I'll live with it.
Anything else, Doug?
No, I think otherwise, I mean, the overall site layout, I think works well. I mean, Lance brought up one of my other ideas that maybe shifting the docks down and changing the flow pattern, but that doesn't work. It's, it's running the turning templates and it doesn't work, so.
All right, Tim.
Yeah, I like the timber frame features. It kind of looks like the bigger
country next door.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice. I'm not sure I'm really fond with a blue roof, but it's just not would be my choice. And the rest of the building is showing white. I hope that's not what it'll end up being. You know, I might go blind on a sunny day going by the place. White. But I would like to see something follow that timber frame kind of punch out you had there. That looks really nice to me.
Okay, anything else?
Yeah, and then I'm happy to have access to landscaping materials.
Okay, good. Aaron,
All right, so I'm very late to the game on this. So my question, if it's a yes, then I don't need explanations. But when you mentioned this distribution center and mulch and whatnot, first thing I thought about was a fire load. So is there a pretty decent sized fire protection system in this building for inside and outside?
Yes.
Okay.
I can tell you what it is. There's hydrants on all four corners, and there'll be a sprinkling system inside the building.
What about for the covered stores? We be there?
The covered storage will have access to hydrants that'll be right outside that, so we will have, the fire department has access right into that area.
Okay.
Automatic.
Yeah, all three sides of the building have a hydrant on it, and the entire inside building.
All four sides, we got four
Or
hydrants
even
on
the
that.
coverage on four sides, but there's a hydrant behind the building. But, and you have the radius,
Northeast and west sides.
correct.
Okay.
okay,
Yes, I'm all set. Thank you.
all set, okay. Like I said, we talked about samples, like I said. If you can do them, fine, that you can't, but we can live with that. The dates we talked about, PRC 1st of October.
Yep.
Hopefully final everything to the staff so we can get it in our package for the 6th of October. I am very concerned about outside storage. The one that I'm most concerned about is that with the 3 per dock ability to put tractor trailers in there, hopefully you will not choose to keep trailers there for storage. In and out, I have no problem. Leave them there for a month or 2 months or whatever, I'd be very unhappy. So just, just keep the flow in there. You don't need any old broke down trailers sitting there just for storage. You know what I'm trying to say? And we talked about beefing up the southeast corner. If possible, it could be a discussion with staff. That's all I had. So we have a resolution that tries to provide you as many details as we can. We talked tonight about other details. I think that gives you a good idea of where you need to go. But as you know this, staff is available, I'm available, Ron's available, everybody's available. If you need anything, just reach out to us. I can come in, we can talk. Doesn't matter, we can take care of business so that you can get this thing rolling, so we don't have to have an extension of this, which we don't want to do.
We agree.
Okay, so we're about,
We're on the same page when it comes to
okay,
that.
you're okay with the resolution, I take it? So do I have a motion to waive the reading of the resolution and approve the resolution for continuation with a change that the continuation is to the 6th of October planning board? Do I have a motion that we waive the reading and approve it with that change?
So
Moved by Doug, seconded by
I'll second.
Aaron. Any other comments? Dan?
With that change, the submittal date to the development office has to change as well.
Okay,
It would have to be to us. I have to look at the county.
just get it to John, he'll put it in.
Okay,
the
so we'll just.
Yeah.
As long as you guys know that, we'll get that.
We'll note that down, take care of that. John will clean it up.
We don't have to do 30 days, but I called the county.
No. I just need enough time for staff to review. and
Okay, all right.
Which is
So
usually.
it's usually about 2 weeks ahead of the 6th, so toward the end of the thing. Okay,
Work with me.
any other comments by staff? We had a motion and a second. Do clerk take a roll call vote, please?
Aaron Sweeney,
Aye.
Doug Beach.
Aye.
Tim DeLucia.
Aye.
Ed Henry.
Aye. Okay,
Thank
got
you.
what you need,
Thank you.
I believe.
Good evening.
Communication, key thing. Whatever we
Okay.
can do. All right?
Yes, and that other
All
thing.
right, and you're gonna get me a
I'll
copy of
send,
your
I'll send that tomorrow.
lead. All
Our
right,
administrator will send it to you.
you got it, thank you.
All right, good night.
And I got it, good night. Next item up, RG&E substation, LOC estimate, everything's fine with that?
Ready to go.
Ready to go. Ready to go. I have a motion to waive the reading and approve that resolution as provided.
Motion by Tim.
Tim, seconded by Aaron. Any other comment? Clerk, take a roll call vote, please.
Aaron Sweeney.
Aye.
Doug Dees.
Aye.
Tim DeLucia.
Aye.
Ed Henry.
Aye. Okay, next time up, Director of Development. Open discussion.
Okay, I sent out today the 2020 census,
Yes, I saw it.
and as you can see from that information, we are leading the way in population and housing units. And we've got, since the 1st of January, Dan reports another 117 permits that have been issued as of August 31st. And there's more coming.
There's one coming, and that's just new houses.
New dwelling units, yeah, whether they're single family detached or attached. No apartments were in that.
But we're about, I hate to say this, aren't we about running out of development? I mean, we've got other empty areas that haven't been laid out yet, but of areas we've kind of approved, we're just about maxed out, aren't we? Of areas that we've approved.
Well, you've got one section left in Albert Meadows,
Right.
okay, and you've got, I don't know how many sections. Big, Hathaway's Corners. Okay.
No, that's true. That's
A lot
true.
of it.
A lot of-
That's true.
And Monarch Manor has a couple more
Yeah, a
sections.
couple more.
Right.
There's still a little bit more over here on Redfield. Okay, all right.
There's still a lot of land left.
There's land left to build on.
Calculations is, right now, we're at 14,170 people. If you look at that southwest corner of the town, you could easily exceed 50,000 people. Okay,
And the third story is going on the early childhood school right now.
so, okay. I know that the Victor School District has always said, you bring them and we'll fix a place for them.
We keep building.
There you go. All right,
Jim's
just a reminder to everyone, we had originally asked to have a presentation tonight by M3, Auburn Junction, always locked, over there on 332. I know that John had put a sketch up of some outbuildings and a plaza. That's a marketing technique that's ongoing.
Hey, they cleaned that up. I
It's,
haven't been by there.
it's improved.
Yeah, I saw that wonderful picture of it.
Yeah, it's improved. Is it where it needs to be? No, but it's improved. Mr. Saron, I understand, is experiencing COVID, and we wish him the well.
Oh,
Hopefully, he'll be able to make a presentation or have somebody make a presentation to us as we go forward. The CAP grant is, well, today was supposed to be the date we get the comments back from the state DOT. I didn't get anything yet. But I do know that we have received 4 easements from Simmons Rockwell. So all of the land between Glen Carlin and the townhouse project over there is now, we've got easements for the sidewalks to go along there. We have easements.
they're still thinking about building in that area.
Well, the difficulty that they're running into is every time they close a franchise dealership, somebody in the neighborhood complains that they already got the franchise for this. So we'll see where it goes. I will say that compared to the number of vehicles on their lots down there in Bath and Elmira, which I was down there last week. And what we see up here in Canandaigua is a world of difference, it's night and day. So, they're very busy. Okay. The TAC grant, we also got some other ones along the Tensia. Dan tells me we're getting the manufactured home park grant. Manufactured home park easements. Farmington Market Center, I've been talking with Mike Montalto, and they understand what they're facing, and they're going to move forward with a incentive rezoning redesign, which will be coming, we think. The GLN Farmington project, as you know, we got a letter of credit out there for almost $1 million to start building some road for Don, so.
Don just wants those damn poles taken down.
There you go.
All more.
That's it.
Okay, Dan,
All right, so I want to talk about your September 15th meeting.
okay, saying bring jammies.
Well, let's go over it first. Your Loomis Road Industrial Park preliminary site plan, they have requested a table again for more time to review this project.
That's what it's being taken.
But they also are asking for the special use permit to be tabled. The question I have to this board is, would you like to open the public hearing and review seeker at least on that project to get it started and out of the way? Which I think would be recommendation of staff on that to get that one going, or do you want us to table everything and hold on to it?
I don't think the board really cares. If staff thinks that we should do it, we can do it. I mean, opening up public hearing, hearing nobody make any comments, saying we're gonna be lead agency and moving forward takes a very short period of time.
Okay.
And we can do that. If you don't think it's necessary, then we won't.
Question for you.
I'm kind of,
Just out of curiosity, Ron, this is probably more geared to you. If there is public hearing, when the applicant requested continuation, and the public has some comments, would that potentially change our view of moving this forward with seeker?
Well, I think with the seeker is, it's on the special use permit.
right,
And we need to classify the action. Okay?
right.
So when you say lead agency, that infers a coordinated review.
True, yeah.
I doubt we're going to have a coordinated review. Right. But it's basically, we have an application that we have to classify within 20 days. So if we have the public hearing, we can do it that night, we're good.
Yeah,
Follow. Thank you, sir.
And so I will let the applicant know that that's
Yeah.
what we're gonna do. And we'll send out or
but know that since it's a public hearing, we will want them here to at least explain the basics so that the public will know what's going on, so we can do what we need to do.
Exactly.
so
This is a special use permit for having the warehouse.
so, well, no, this is,
Yeah.
This is another one.
this is another project on Loomis Road. It's their industrial park. It's farther down the road. It's next to
The old gravel pit down.
and they're doing a vehicle, I don't want to call it repair center, but it's only
Dollar
shop.
So
So
it's a 14 lot subdivision to create these lots.
10
Or 10 lot.
Where they
One of
ship
those
the
lots.
cars that do the donuts and the cars.
Yeah. So in that district, it needs a special use permit to allow that to happen. So that's why they're applying for it. They're also applying for their site plan. This board has already approved their subdivision of that area, 10 lots in a road that was in there. But the applicant's asking for more time on the site plan to get that together. So. Also on that night would be the continuation of, no, we very good, sorry. Would be the preliminary site plan for Paul Gillette of, for the safe place storage. So that will be in front of you. We also have the Gerstner Medical.
The one that's right, the other
Oh,
side of,
sorry,
from the Country Max, it's on the other side there, across from FedEx down there where they already have storage. I want to fill the rest of that lot in storage.
Wait, Dan, did they have already resubmit? They resubmit plans to the town addressing,
I'm assuming so because Sarah has it on the agenda.
And they had to combine lots.
I wouldn't assume that. Okay,
So
They had to combine lots to be able to do what they needed to do.
I will double check on this, but
Yeah.
she has it listed on the agenda. The next thing she has listed on the agenda is the Gerstner Medical Facility.
Yeah.
Preliminary site plan you guys saw
So around Quitten Shire,
behind VR.
yeah, VR Foods,
Yeah, yes.
food equipment, so.
And then we're anticipating the villas for a letter of credit review, auto watch for a letter of credit review, and then you also have Myers back here for their construction review.
I would say well, we've got a resolution we've got to do.
Right.
We talked about that, by the way, the Myers one, and it maybe this would be the last time we really need to officially have a review unless staff feels there's something going wrong. I mean, we've looked at this and we had problems in the beginning, so we had regular reviews, we did resolutions, we did whatever. We want to hold their feet to the fire, but maybe we can let staff hold their feet to the fire and then let us, be used as a lever if staff feels they need. Does that make sense?
Sure does.
Everybody? So I think what we'll do is we'll request it when you do that to go ahead and do a resolution that just says something similar to that we're okay with staff monitoring it from this point forward, and that staff will bring to our attention any issues that the board may want to get involved.
I think it would also be the recommendation that they have to continue with PRC on a regular basis.
Correct, absolutely, yep. Okay,
Yeah, the only thing with it that is that you set a time period when they had to be complete with the phase one, and that's been extended.
right,
So this report that is coming back to you will have a new date,
right,
I assume, when they're going to expect to have everything phase one completed. Now, that may be what was it originally agreed to the last time, or it may be a new one. I don't know.
yeah. Look at how you guys can word that and still keep us as much out of it as we can, since we are going into a busier season.
Well, it's just another board action.
Yeah, exactly,
Just like with a letter of credit. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't need a big explanation. You're gonna get it for the PRC minutes.
okay,
We'll look at it,
okay, thanks.
but that's all.
That's it, that's not terrible.
So and this last,
Busier than
there's a
you.
couple I have to look into. He brings up some good points, but there's a potential that they're going to be on.
Okay,
I agree.
all right, Don?
Well, on the shirt tail of Ron Tech grant report, I did not put another truck in the budget for next year. However, I did put another piece of snowplow removal equipment for sidewalks. I started to feel pretty good there for a second, and then he turned right around and told me, yeah, Alan is building another road for me to plow. So now I don't know if I want the truck or the Bobcat. So, we'll have to see where that goes. As I'm sure you heard through the news and everything else, that the town board has opted to fulfill the park closure at dusk, and according with the National Weather Service, and that has caused for me to be up 3 o'clock in the morning on a couple of different occasions. One of which was a week ago, middle of last week, with 6 individuals spinning donuts down there. And then again on 3 o'clock on Monday morning. I did put a spare pen in my truck because I did drive one out, signing documentation.
Just make a phone call to Tim will check it out.
I'm gonna block Dylan the brakes phone number for my phone. Dylan's been pretty busy. He's doing a lot of reporting courts down there as well. Beaver Creek Park, moving right along, we've got all the cameras, up, working. Once that park is turned over to me, there is one piece of downspout that we're gonna make a correction on, it's kind of in the line of one of the cameras. We don't wanna change the alignment of this camera because this camera is covering a key position, being the infield of the baseball field, so we're gonna make an adjustment to the culvert. Town Line Road, we took off with the last phase of drainage and sub-base box out on the northeast end of the project.
When he's right, he's right. When he's wrong, well, you know.
That Ron won't let me forget it when I'm wrong.
Did you dump more water in those guys back there? Never mind.
No, I have not, but we had a long conversation on that board meeting the other night. Anyhow, once we get this segment of basin, it's our intent right where the Route 332 right away ends there. We are going to get our binder course on, which will take a lot of that rough coarseness that you're getting out. What you're seeing right now is box out areas where it needed drainage, under drain, base. We're gonna get the binder course on that. Later on in the season, we will be putting that catch basin up by the intersection of 332 and Canandaigua Farmington Town Line. That is kind of out of the road, so that's something we can do after paving closes if necessary, but that is intent to get in this year. Then we are going to be on hold as far as the road rebuild portion. The road rebuild will be a lot smoother. I mean, it'll be a state of binder. It'll be decent. We will have to hold on that until such time as the water tower / water main project that's coming out of Canandaigua completes the install of some of that water main. So once that's completed, we will be back in there next year with some additional curbing, some additional sidewalk, and then finally getting the top coat on the entire road from end to end. Also, we did submit through the process of submitting. I submitted to the town board submitted to the county submitted to the state. Both Jim and I did that process through our respective towns. We got a reply back from the state, and that's in referencing lowering the speed limit to 40 miles an hour on the entire road instead of having it go down as far as Birchwood at 40 and then turn to 55. We got declined. The state refused us. So that road will remain 40 from 332 to Birchwood and then go back to 55 miles an hour the rest of the way. Jim and I are quite puzzled how they come to their decision in light of the fact Monarch Manor is being built. We got a sidewalk going along there. It's actually part of the trail system. However,
We're talking the state of New York here,
yes.
and you had some question? Never mind.
Anytime we want to make a change to the speed limit, it's not just, I can't just go put up a speed limit sign and change it. I have to do a resolution to the town board. Town board can approve or deny. If they so choose to approve, they then have to submit it to the county. County can approve or deny, and then they have to submit it to the state. I've done this on 2 different occasions. Generally, 2 to 3 months later, the state comes back and denies the request. We're waiting.
Consistent.
Exactly. Head signals have been ordered. We're waiting on them. As soon as they arrive, we will be putting the head signals up on County Road 41.
41 by the
That
trail.
crosswalk, the trail crosswalk, yes. Park's moving right along. It's starting to look like a park.
Good. Cool.
Basically where we're at, highway.
All right, Lance.
I'll be quick. Dan was pretty modest earlier when he said how much stuff's going on. We have 5 pre-cons this Friday and approximately 6 other projects by October. So for a total of 11 Friday. For some of us. Friday pre-con. So there'll be approximately over the next month, next 30 days, 11 more projects under construction. We granted some of these are currently got work going on now, but ultimately 11 more projects. So it's a lot of moving parts.
PRC meeting minutes are good ones to glance at because you'll get the key of what's happening. It's a really good story. Okay,
Eddie, I would just like to clarify for Lance's sake, all these references to donuts in Mertensia Park, they're not for the PRC meeting on Friday.
Oh, I thought I was getting out of it.
Okay.
Jim,
I'm good.
Doug,
I'm good.
Aaron,
I want to thank the board for letting me serve with them. I'm looking forward to this.
he says that now.
And I won't let you down.
I know you won't. We won't let you.
Thank you, John.
We won't let you. For me, like I said, the PRC is one coming up. I didn't see anything on the PRC that really needed my attention. If you guys think there is, let me know. We have some other things going on.
We always do.
I can always break loose, huh?
We always love your company.
Yeah, well, I have come in for donuts. No, I don't. So other than that, if anybody has any issues, keep up the good work, get the packages, get us the comments as soon as you can, and we'll get them to staff. I know Doug had some comments, we got them in a little late because he was out of town, but that's fine. We got them to staff was able to get him back some comments, so we continue to do that. I think the conversation tonight was good with Country Max. I appreciate that. We got them refocused to where they needed to be between this conversation and one prior to the meeting. So I think it's working out well. So anything else? John, you got anything for us?
Yeah, one thing to say.
Okay. Motion to adjourn by Aaron, seconded by Doug. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.